Hey guys, so today's intro is a bit different. I'm super honored to announce that I am sponsored by Dragon Shield and they sent me a package and I wanted to open it with you guys. I wanted you to be a part of this. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to speed everything up and make it, cool for you guys to look at. And then we're going to see what they sent me. It's also insanely heavy, so I'm wondering what it is that's in here. Alright, so we have a lot of things to go through. So we have 2 deck boxes and I'll make sure to keep all of this for giveaways and stuff like that in the future. We have a bunch of sleeves, different colors. I might open like 1 white because I've been waiting to get my hands on white sleeves for some time, but I just don't bother ordering them. Also, I've been using Dragon Shield products since forever. They are 100,000% my favorite sleeves. And I just think that the quality is pretty much unmatchable. And these outer sleeves, if you're trying to double sleeve your stuff, is just very useful, to say the least. And yeah, it's just, there's a lot of sleeves in here. So going over all of this, we have the perfect fit. These ones, that's very useful to have. So I would suggest to have some of these ones on hand. And then we have this. And there's a lot of other colors as well. So there's the brushed art. I never used any of the art sleeves. So you guys need to let me know if you enjoy art sleeves as well. Usually I would just use, the colored ones. And also I'm insanely into lore and stuff like that. So anytime we get sleeves, I would read the little story at the back and just, I have my favorite dragons and all of that. I think the pink ones are my favorite because of the story. Mine might be weird, but I really enjoy that type of stuff. Okay, here's the playmat. We're gonna leave that for later. Here's oh my god, it's a little pen. Oh, I'm gonna use the hell out of this. It's gonna be so cool. So that's a score pad, which is lettered. Oh my god. And then we have the snow sleeves and some of these ones. These ones are beautiful. The same ones. And then also a playmat to round things off. I'll just show it to you like that. And I'll open it later. But yeah, that's pretty much the package. I'm insanely grateful. And actually, I might open it now. Since we're doing the opening, let's just go ahead and do it. Let's just unroll all of this. Oh, I think it's multiple playmats. It's actually, no, it's only one. Oh, that's oh, okay. I never had one of these to keep a playmat safe. I used to just pray for it to be safe in my bag, but it actually looks insane. Looks really beautiful. So that's it. I need to roll this, keep it safe. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm so thankful to Dragon Shield. And like I said, I'll make sure to keep these sleeves for giveaways for you guys, because basically you guys got me here. So it's the least I can do. And I'm super thankful for you guys as well. Hey guys, I'm Naya and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing the tech cards tier list with YCS Las Vegas taking place this past weekend. Now we have a bit of an idea as to what tech cards we'll be seeing play moving forward, and I'll share my thoughts on them, of course. And please, you do the same in the comments down below if you want. So we have the usual tiers and we have about 50 cards to cover, so yeah, let's just go ahead and get started. As for the first one, we have Zuking Alpha, and I don't think the card is worth it simply because it's not doing enough with outing the board, and also because it's sometimes extremely hard to actually put a monster on the board with them locking your zones. I'm not going to go rant about locking zones, but when they lock 5 of them, you're not going to be able to special summon Alpha, Kurikara, Nibiru. Neither one of these cards is going to be able to work. So putting in a card like this just doesn't seem worth it because it has too many downsides. So as for anti-spell, I think it's really good. Anti-spell is insane against branded and against other decks that are going to be playing a bunch of spells. We're going in a diverse meta, and sometimes you just want to have a card that you know going first. You may want to swap some of the going second cards for this one, and it's quite generic. When you know that you're going up against a strategy that uses a lot of spells, you know it's going to be useful. So especially if you're expecting a lot of branded. So I think anti-spell is a really good choice moving forward. A pointer is, it's interesting. I don't think it's bad, actually. I'm gonna put it in good. Because it's only at 1, it makes it the perfect target for tasking, because with tasking, you essentially have more copies of it. And if you want to play it because you know a certain card is going to hinder you, like in Kashtira, that would be Eclipse, for example. If you're going for that kind of card, I think it's not bad. I'm not personally a huge fan of like hard going first cards. But I see potential in this card if you want to include it, because right now I think side decks are going to look kind of weird because no one's going to really know what to prepare for, or they're going to try to prepare for many different things. It's going to be weird, yeah, like I said. So a card like this, sure, it's only one spot, and if you're playing tasking anyway, I guess it makes sense. Eclipse is goated 100%. Like, I think Eclipse is extremely, extremely strong. It's great, It can be ashed, yes, but then they have to draw ash when you draw Eclipse. So it's like, it's not always going to happen, and you can out the board with it. Like, being able to flip the monsters face down, and you're going to see a recurring theme of flipping monsters face down with some of these tech cards. So the flipping part, I think, is going to be extremely strong in this format, and I think Eclipse is great. It's a quick play. You can just play it before a Shangri-Ira activates its effect, so you don't give them additional resources, and I like it. I think it's extremely, extremely strong. And the Book of Lunar Eclipse as well, I'm putting it a tiny bit lower just because it's not dealing with the entire field. I'm literally out of breath. I went all in at the start of this tier list. So let's slow down a bit. I think Eclipse is, the Lunar Eclipse card is great, but it only flips 2 monsters and you need to discard. So it has more downsides than the regular Eclipse, at least in my opinion. So I'll just put it at the top of good. Kalba is kind of weird. I'm not entirely sure where to put it, actually. It's not bad. You can use it against branded if they're going first, and you can banish their targets from the graveyards, and you can use it against Ash, but not a lot of people are going to play hand traps where they need to discard themselves to the graveyard. They can play Ash, they can play Nibiru, but more than likely they're going to play board breakers. So Kalba is not as useful. Against Kashtira, it's pretty much not going to be doing anything. I don't know. Feels weird, but I might put it in decent. It's a decent card to use, but it's one additional slot in the main deck that you maybe want to use for something else. So I may be wrong. It's where I would place it. Chalice is not bad, actually. If you're expecting to go up against a strategy where if they play Ibli and put it on your field, it's not bad. It's a useful card against that, or you can use it against Contact C. And it's only dealing with one thing, so it's not as great, but I think I'll just put it in decent and just leave it there. I think it's fine in decent. Then we have Change of Heart. Also a decent card. I'll put it above Chalice. All of these cards that take control are not bad. Actually, no, I'll put it below, and I'll address some of the other cards that take control as well. I'll put Mind Control in here. I don't think it's worth it because it's worse than Change of Heart. And we could talk about Silence as well, but I'll leave that for a little later. The cards that take control, when your 5 monster zones are locked, you cannot take control of them, of the opposing monsters. So those cards immediately become worse. And if you're playing a strategy where you can actually utilize a Rise card, whether that's actual Kashtira, or if you have enough space in the extra deck, that's not bad because you can take control and put your own Arise card on top of their monsters if they activated the effect of Shangri-Ira that turn. So the card is not bad in theory, but it's not always going to be live. So I don't know, maybe it's just one card and it can be served off of tasking. So again, just decent in my opinion. Then we have Cosmic Cyclone. So overall back row removal cards, I think Cosmic is like decent, probably. If you want to use it against a chap strategy like Labyrinth, or if you want to use it against branded, there's like I guess, sure, it's an option, but I would much rather use Harpies just because it's searchable off of tasking. So, and also it's literally destroying the entire back row, and you're not paying 1k to banish one. Right now, we're not, we don't need to be so caught up on banishing because it's okay to just pop. There's no, tier cards that you need to be worrying about, or, there's no Eldritch cards that you would need to chain the Cosmic to actually get value off of it. So playing just a card like Harpies or, Lightning Storm is not bad either. You can just play those kinds of cards and just deal with the entire back row. So there's that. Crossed Out is interesting because it's really good in branded. So I want to point that out. Like if you have enough space to run it, I totally understand why you would, because the branded strategy is extremely hurt by cards like Ash or D-Barrier, and you can actually use those cards as well to counter the opponent, and you can use it together with Crossed Out. So it seems like the perfect card in branded, and if you have that kind of deck, if you're playing that kind of deck, the card is good. Sure, we can place it here. I don't think it's bad. I think D-Barrier is goated 100,000%. It's extremely strong because right now, again, we're in a meta where there's an Xyz-based deck, a Synchro-based deck, a Fusion-based deck, and again, searchable off of tasking. It's what I'm going to keep saying over and over again because it's very, very useful, the tasking that is, to get to those kinds of cards. Dark Hole is good as well. I'll put it here. It's able to get rid of your Ibli, and that's pretty much it. Like, obviously the effect is good, but when you're comparing Dark Hole and Raigeki, Dark Hole is better in this current meta because it's also able to pop cards that are on your side of the field, like Ibli, like the Ra's Disciple or whatever it may be. You can just get rid of it. So, Raigeki is probably not worth it because of it. Like, it's just, sure, but not as great. Shangri-La can protect itself as well, so you're not getting rid of the entire board. Your zones are still locked if Shangri-La protects itself, so it just makes it not worth it. And then we have Dark Ruler. Dark Ruler is not bad. I think I'll put it quite high, actually. Again, Shangri-La, if it gets negated, your zones are still locked. So there's that. And also when they're locking your back row, like sometimes Dark Ruler Eclipse are not going to be able to be played, to actually be placed on the field, but they're not always locking all 5 of the zones, so you can still probably play. And with Dark Ruler, you're negating everything else to make it easier for yourself to break the board. So there's that. It's also not bad against random rogue strategies, which there's going to be a lot of them. Against branded, it's also decent, so you're able to somehow deal with the board that's on the field at that point in time. Obviously, they have other cards that slap the monsters on the board later, but still, I think Dark Ruler, all in all, is just a good generic card, especially in a diverse meta. The Daruma Karma Cannon, I wanted to include it because, again, there's a lot of talk about cards that flip monsters face down. And this one, actually, the second part of the effect is not affecting the monsters, but it's making the player perform the action, basically. So, the Daruma card is not bad, but it is a trap card. It's kind of slow. So if you're playing it in Labyrinth or a slower strategy, sure. I think I'll put it in decent, probably somewhere over here. It's not bad at all. It's just really slow. And, there's that. D-Fissure, I don't think it's worth it, at all, pretty much. It's just Arise Heart is doing the exact same thing. So you're not going to be playing more copies, especially if you expect to go up against many Kashtiras, because what are you going to do? It's literally the same deck. You're not going to counter them with the D-Fissure or Macrocosmos for that matter, and so the cards are just not worth it. Other decks, branded isn't really hurt by it. Swordsoul can still live. They can activate their tiny effects from the hand, which is not that bad, and getting cards from the banished pile with Adhara, if it's previously in the grave, or if you activate it from the hand, you're also getting resources back. So again, it's not that bad to play against those cards. Droplet is most definitely not worth it right now because discarding for cost to the graveyard, it's not going to be happening under Arise Heart. So yeah, the card itself, great, but not in this particular format. Then we have Enemy Controller. This one is actually, it feels even better than the Change of Heart and Mind Control. Let's see where I want to place it. I think I'll put it over here so you can easily get rid of Ibli that way. And if you also, if you put Ibli on their side of the field and you play enemy controller, you can prevent them from crashing with the Ibli by changing it to defense mode, which is also great. I like enemy controller. Overall, I like it. It does have the downside of tributing the monster, or could be a good thing when it comes to tributing Ibli and those kinds of cards. So whatever you want, you can play it if you want, but I think it's still only decent. Evenly, on the other hand, I think it's really, really strong right now. There's literally no negation when it comes to Kashtira, but they can play the adventure stuff. So I'm not taking that away from them. But you need to keep in mind that when you're going up against Kashtira, you're going to side a lot of cards and you may be maining some of those cards as well. So if you're able to bait the negate, either that's with non-engine or engine, you can then play a card like Evenly and just completely get rid of their entire field. Going up against Labyrinth, that's also very impactful. Other decks as well, actually Branded right now is putting up huge boards. So I would say Evenly is really strong right now. Then we have Forbidden Lands. So I think Lance is decent. It's interesting because obviously the Kashtira players are going to play Lance because you make your cards unaffected. I also saw a play where they were able to out skill drain because it was chained and then the Fenrir was able to banish the skill drain. So there's niche plays that you're able to do. However, cards like, where do I have it? So Herald of the Abyss and cards that make the player perform the action sort of get around that. So at that point, it just feels like a card like Lance might not be worth playing if the opponent is going to be prepared for it, and a lot of people might be. So it feels like a weird card that might be better right now at the beginning of the format with people not as prepared and with people mainly citing, spell and trap cards that are going to affect your monsters 100,000%. So with Lance, you're able to go around that, but it's kind of weird. We'll see like in a week or so what's going to happen. So I mentioned Herald of the Abyss and, I can actually place it here. It's not a bad placement. So like I mentioned, a card that is going to make the player perform the action. And we have a card like that also in Weybridge, where again, it's one of those cards, but it does seem a bit worse. I'll put it at the bottom part of decent. It's not bad, but only limited to trap strategies, so not that great either. So there's that. Kaijus are not worth it because they are only dealing with one thing, and that is not enough right now. You can play them if you want, if you have like multiple forms of removal going second, but I don't think it's worth it. Then we have Gozen Match, which it's not bad right now actually. I think I'll place it like here maybe. Against Kashtira, it's really, really strong, and some decks are able to utilize it and main it like Labyrinth. Sadly, I would want Labyrinth to just be a very cool trap deck, not a floodgate annoying deck, but it might turn to that if Kashtira becomes even more dominant, but we'll just have to wait and see. Then we have Grave of the Super Ancient Organism, which I don't think it's bad. It's actually quite decent, and it's just sort of able to catch the opponent off guard. However, it being a trap card makes it slow and also very specific for the branded matchup, and in a Kashtira heavy meta as well. It's very similar, but it's not exactly Nat's format from last year where there was a whole ton of branded. So I don't know. I think I'll place it here. It's not bad. I guess we can place it somewhere here in the middle. Again, an option for you if you want. The Gravekeeper's Inscription is not worth it in my opinion. I think I'll just place it where do I want to place it actually? We also sort of expected you're not getting hit completely. So we thought a card like this is just going to be additional copies of Shifter, but we're not in that kind of meta anymore. So I guess I'll just put it in Bruh. Not exactly useful right now. Then we have Judgment. Judgment is kind of, actually, I could put it in Good. All right, that's better. So now you can actually see everything. I think I'll place Judgment in Good. I don't think it's bad at all if you're playing a Kashtira strategy that's not utilizing adventure cards. I think I'll place it like somewhere over here, I guess. It's not bad if you're expecting them to side very hard against you, which they are going to do. And if you're not playing adventure stuff, and if you're not going for Baron, for example, for just a generic type of negation, then playing a card like Judgment is really going to save you. Okay, so yeah, Kashtira cards, they're insane right now. The entire deck is insane. Fenrir is great type of removal. Unicorn is being just stupid together with Diablosis, being able to take away your resources from the extra deck as well. And the cards are just very, very strong right now. Kurikara, is very interesting. I'll put it at the top of decent because with what I mentioned before, sometimes you won't have enough zones to actually play it, but the card is really, really strong. And Lava Golem is also extremely strong right now. I'll put it here, and I'll put Sphere Mode in here as well. We actually saw main deck Sphere Mode on stream, which I thought was really, really cool. It's just stupidly busted right now to utilize those cards against decks like Kashtira, Branded. Literally everything is going to summon 2 or more monsters, and if you don't play a strategy that very relies on the normal summon, which not a lot of strategies right now do, then you can utilize cards like these. So there's that. Necro Valley, I mean, we can put it in bruh. Like, there's literally nothing activating right now that gets hurt. I mean, I could place it like higher. I mean, let's just put it not worth it, because it's not worth it. Maybe against decks like dragons or something like that, a card like this would be useful, but you probably wouldn't play it just for that particular random matchup. Pankratops as well. Only deals with one thing, not great at all. Rivalry is not bad. So it's interesting, there can be only one is not worth it in my opinion. We can place it quite low actually, because they're going to be able to, if you're going up against Branded, let's say, or let's put Kashtira as an example. If you're going up against, because Branded doesn't really care about, there can be, because they actually have different types. So we'll place a Rivalry here, and when it comes to there can be, if there can be is not that great. However, Goes and Match and Rivalry are, and Rivalry can also be played in Rika and also in Zorzo, obviously. So cards that can be utilized are also good. Artifact Sanctum, we're gonna slap it in bruh. Scythe was banned. You can bring out Lancia, but I doubt a lot of people are going to be doing this. So yeah, I guess we'll just leave it in bruh. Skill Drain is not bad. Skill Drain has always been a decent card. We can place it here. Yeah, let's place it quite high. It's not a bad card, but I doubt a lot of people are just going to be randomly playing it just because. But sure. Spellbound, I don't think it's worth it. I'm not sure where to place it though. We could place it here maybe. The issue is that Contact C is much better, so why would you play Spellbound if it's only affecting the cards that are currently on the field, whereas Contact C actually summons itself, and it's you have to use me if you want to do anything, and with Spellbound you can just get other cards out and it's no big deal. And yeah, summon limit, no, not worth it at all right now. It's not that hard to out. And the best decks, they don't need to summon a whole lot. They can just, pretty much control the game with a card like Fenrir. Literally, Fenrir just outs this. So, whereas with Skill Drain, for example, you would have to have a Lance or something to pair together with it. But Floodgate like this, it doesn't negate effects. It's just okay, whatever, I can just Fenrir and just get rid of it. So there's that. Super Polymerization is actually quite good right now because Mud Dragon is an insane target against Kashtira. And obviously in a branded strategy, of course it's good. So we can place it what do we have here? We can place it here. Swords of Concealing Light are not worth it in my opinion, and I've been saying that for some time. I'll put it at the top of not worth it. I don't want to be rude to anyone using them. The card, but a Rise card deals with it because it's a continuous spell card that needs to remain on the field to resolve. So why would you play it if you can just quick play spell, use the Eclipse and be done with it? So there's that. Talents, extremely, extremely strong right now. I'll put this one in Goated as well. a lot of cards are activating during your turn, obviously, and together with tasking, you have multiple copies of it. And I think I'll put tasking in like top of good. Not a lot of people play 3 copies. I've seen a lot of packages with 2 and 1 talents, 2 and 1 target, but you can play 3 if you want, and you have like, there's literally the barrier. Talents, you have Evenly, Dark Ruler, Harpies, Dark Hole. Like, I could go on and on. Like, in the good category, you have so many targets. And also what I love about tasking is that it actually searches engine as well, because there's a lot of strategies right now that utilize normal spell and trap cards and they want to search them. Like Brand Diffusion is like literally the first thing that comes to mind. And there's a lot of other things as well. So I like tasking. I think it's very strong. They're not always going to be able to play around it. And if they want to go Shangri-La effect in the standby phase to like have a resource, they're probably going to do it, If they suspect tasking, they might not, but they still want to grant themselves a resource. So then there's like, they need to weigh, do I want to lose to tasking or do I want to risk it, not risk it? Like, I don't think it's bad. And yeah, Twin Twister, not that great right now, because it's not removing enough if we're going up against Labyrinth. Like, it's not bad, right? And if you benefit off of the discard, sure, but I guess like we can put it in decent. Yeah, we can put it in decent. Ultimate Slayer is not worth it, I think. I don't like the fact that it takes up that many slots. And I'll always say this, I'm not a huge fan of it. So we could place it like here maybe. Or we could place it lower. Let's put it here. And Zombie World, like there's literally no one playing Thunder right now. Bird Brigade is like a thing, but not exactly a very meta strategy. And other than that, I don't think there's a lot of decks that are reliant on the types right now. So I'll just slap this in not worth it. Maybe like over here, if someone decides to play that kind of strategy, there's still an option for you to out them with this card. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I'm not sure if there's anything I would want to change. I'm always nervous when I'm done with a tier list because I'm not sure if there's any changes I should make. But that's where you guys come in and you can let me know what you think about the card placements and all of that. It's kind of weird to do this at the beginning of the format with only one event behind us. So let me know what you think. And yeah, if you like the video, of course, please like it. Sub, check out all the social media. Make sure to have all the notifications turned on so you don't miss out when I post. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.